The canon of the New Testament is the set of books Christians regard as divinely inspired and constituting the New Testament of the Christian Bible. For most, it is an agreed-upon list of 27 books that includes the canonical Gospels, Acts, Letters of the Apostles, and Revelation. The books of the canon of the New Testament were written mostly in the 1st century and finished by the year 150 AD. For the Orthodox, the recognition of these writings as authoritative was formalized in the Second Council of Trullan of 692. Although it was nearly universally accepted in the mid-300s, the biblical canon was the result of debate and research, reaching its final term for Catholics at the dogmatic definition of the Council of Trent in the 16th century, when the Old Testament canon was finalized in the Catholic Church as well. The early collections, writings attributed to the apostles, circulated among the earliest Christian communities. The Pauline epistles were circulating, perhaps in collected forms, by the end of the 1st century AD. Justin Martyr, in the mid-2nd century, mentions memoirs of the apostles as being read on the day called that of the Son, alongside the writings of the prophets. A four-gospel canon was asserted by Irenaeus, 180, who refers to it directly. By the early 3rd century, Origen may have been using the same 27 books as in the Catholic New Testament canon, though there were still disputes over the canonicity of the letter to the Hebrews, James, 2 Peter, 2 John, 3 John, Jude and Revelation, known as the Anti-Legomena. Likewise, the Muratorian fragment is evidence that, perhaps as early as 200, there existed a set of Christian writings somewhat similar to the 27-book NT canon, which included four Gospels and argued against objections to them. Thus, while there was a good measure of debate in the early Church over the New Testament canon, the major writings are claimed to have been accepted by almost all Christians by the middle of the 3rd century. In his Easter letter of 367, Athanasius, Bishop of Alexandria, gave a list of the books that would become the 27-book NT canon, and he used the word canonized in regards to them. The first council that accepted the present canon of the New Testament may have been the Synod of Hippo Regius in North Africa. The acts of this council, however, are lost. A brief summary of the Acts was read and accepted by the councils of Carthage in 397 and 419. These councils were under the authority of St. Augustine, who regarded the canon as already closed. Pope Damasus I Council of Rome in 382, if the Decretum Gelasianum is correctly associated with it, issued a biblical canon identical to that mentioned above, or, if not, the list is at least a 6th century compilation. Likewise, Damasus a commissioning of the Latin Vulgate edition of the Bible, 383, was instrumental in the fixation of the canon in the West. In c. 405, Pope Innocent I sent a list of the sacred books to a Gallic bishop, ex-superius of Toulouse. Christian scholars assert that, when these bishops and councils spoke on the matter, however, they were not defining something new but instead, were ratifying what had already become the mind of the Church. Thus, some claim that, from the 4th century, there existed unanimity in the West concerning the New Testament canon, and that by the 5th century, the Eastern Church, with a few exceptions, had come to accept the Book of Revelation and thus had come into harmony on the matter of the canon. Nonetheless, full dogmatic articulations of the canon were not made until the Canon of Trent of 1546 for Roman Catholicism, the Gallic Confession of Faith of 1559 for Calvinism, the 39 Articles of 1563 for the Church of England, and the Synod of Jerusalem of 1672 for the Greek Orthodox.